Yo, YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy, Sora Life Story, and we back with another video this week. Told y'all I'm trying to stay on it, trying to be more consistent this year, just trying to make more videos. But this video right here, it's kind of just gonna be quick. It's kind of like bouncing off kind of some things I talked about on my thoughts about the Series S and just my impressions and kind of like my in-depth kind of critique on it and all that. But it basically kind of goes off of what I alluded to about the Series S being weak, per se. So I was very thorough and very, I feel correct in my statement saying like the Series S is weak compared to the other current gen systems. Compared to the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, yes, on paper, the Series S, see, this guy, it's easy to get them mixed up, but the Series S, compared to those systems on paper, in terms of raw horsepower and all that, it is considered weak. And, it's been advertised that way, like, it's not gonna be pushing, like native 4K in games and all that, but I mean, Series X and PlayStation 5 and some games it ain't even pushing native 4K, so but it's not really pushing that, even though like some indie titles and smaller titles actually do native 4K. And that's why I was saying, like, while the system technically might not be as powerful as those systems, I mean, as you can see even with the gameplay I have on screen right here, like, it still produces good visuals. And this video I'm making today is, I'm kind of coming in defense of the system, because for me, like, I still don't really consider myself like an Xbox guy, but I really like the Series S. The reason why I like the Series S is just because it is that budget platform. You can be a casual gamer. You can even be a hardcore gamer with the system. And that's the thing that I don't like about the advertising, or I can't even blame the advertising, just other people. They don't position this as a hardcore gamer system, which is fine. But for me, I feel as though the Series S is a good system for if you just want to play games. Games look good on it. Games play good on it. There's missteps here and there. It's not the most powerful system. It's not advertised as the most powerful system. It's a lot of 1080p, even though it was advertised as 1440p. The thing is, they even put in the advertising up to 1440p, 120 FPS. A lot of people will complain about not having 1440p or not having 120 frames for something, but that was always advertised up to, meaning it is possible, depending on the engine, depending on the game, depending on how it's scaled, depending on everything going on with the game, whether it be textures, geometry, shadows, all that stuff like that. It could possibly reach that. It could possibly even go beyond that, which it has done in games like Ori and all that, but that's like smaller games, less demanding in a sense. Because I kind of hate that argument too of like things being less demanding, meaning they are technically less than, like, of course it's not the big old AAA thing, but the fact that a system that's technically weak is still able to produce what it does with that certain game is still pretty great. Especially for a system that's only $300. It's very budget friendly. It's a very conscious system to buy for me. I feel as though it's a very conscious system to buy because the price that you pay for what you get, this can't be beat. And yes, it is a digital only system. And yes, it is, still less than a Series X or even a PS5 digital edition, or, just PS5 in general. It has less RAM. But it's still the same. It's the same RAM as like a PS5 or Xbox Series X. It's just less. And you know, that less is still used up by system memory. So yeah, it's less, but it's still the same RAM. The speed is slightly clocked down. Okay, it's a slightly slower speed, but it's still the same RAM. It's still modern. GPU, it's still an RDNA 2 GPU. Yes, lower clock speed, less compute units, less, you know, all that. But it's still RDNA GPU. It's still capable of all that stuff. The CPU, that's like not even something we can talk about in the conversation of it. Because from a CPU standpoint, it's on par. Like, they did not cut back on the CPU because they knew if they did, that would put it in a bad place. And that's where I kind of like feel like, you know, it gets a lot of slack. But like, graphics is not pushing 4K. It's not promising pushing 4K. So it having a weaker GPU, that's cool. But it not hitting 60 FPS and stuff like that, that's all on developers. And these publishers like rushing developers to get stuff out. Which goes into my conversation of this is that the Xbox Series S is kind of in a bad spot. Because see, for me, right now on my Xbox Series S, I like to use it for Game Pass. So to play certain things that I probably wouldn't buy on my PlayStation or wouldn't want to spend money on my PlayStation, because it might be something I'm interested in, but I have to buy it on my PlayStation. And then if I see it on Game Pass, I'm like, I might try that. Or one of my favorite things that I use it for, I have EA Play, and then there's even like some Xbox 360 games. There's a lot of Xbox 360 games on EA Play that I've been playing. Right now, like I said, I'm still playing through the Dead Space trilogy. Talking too fast. But yeah, I'm still playing through the Dead Space trilogy. I'm playing through the Final Fantasy 13 games on there. And let me tell you, all of these games are receiving visual updates. And this is all Microsoft. Got FPS boosts. You got higher resolution. Even on the Series S. Even on the Series S. Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3, you're getting 60 FPS. I played the first one, but it at least got, you know, up to 1440p. Like, that game looks better than it does playing it on the original Xbox 360. I played these games on my 4K TV. So I just say all that to say, dude, we gotta cut it. I'm not saying cut it some slack, but there is reasons to blame for what's going on with the Series S. Right now, we're kind of in a weird situation with the generation shift. Because usually you get your next gen, if you're able to buy it, yeah, like the first couple months, if it's sold out, it's sold out. It's kind of hard to get. But we're going on over a year, these consoles being out. Still can't buy a Series X. Still can't buy a PS5. The Xbox Series S, it's kind of available, kind of not. It really depends on where you're at and if you're looking for it. And I guarantee if you're looking for a Series S, you'll probably find it. But even that is kind of iffy. But that's the main system right now that you can buy at MSRP and probably be able to find it, even close to you. But what this issue is causing is that the previous gen is a lot more prevalent than it has been in, you know, all generations. Now PS2 going to PS3, the PS2 did kind of go for a little bit, but you think Xbox going to Xbox 360, the Xbox got dropped quick. You think even Wii going to, GameCube going to Wii, like GameCube got dropped really quick by Nintendo and even third parties. Wii was just a slightly overclocked GameCube, so it was weak, but still. And even going to the 7th generation to 8th generation shift, that one was a little bit more weird because, you know, the PS3 and 360 were still HD consoles, but man, they aged, bro. They aged. By the time we got that PS4 and the Xbox One, even those base model systems, And with them coming out underpowered, they put the PS3 and Xbox 360 to shame. Even though, because we had that PS3 and Xbox 360 so long, devs were able to optimize it. I mean, they were able to last, but that generational shift, just fidelity and just overall performance and stuff, it was felt. It was definitely felt. Maybe not right at the beginning, but by the time we got to the end of the generation, that's why I kind of retracted on, you know, saying that, you know, PS4 wouldn't be that much better. It did get a lot better with last generation. But I say all that to say, because the previous generation has been around for so long, and because it's x86 architecture, because all of these consoles now are PC architecture, even with the base Xbox One, I'm talking VCR 2013, even that is still supported, and even that is still a baseline, because there's people that have it. There's a lot of people that have that system. Even with the Series S, some people, a lot of, you know, you go certain places, you're able to find it, but it's still not everywhere. And then you're talking Series X and PS5, the juggernauts of this console generation. I mean, you still have to try to buy them online. Not even saying, oh, you just buy them online and it'll be shipped. No, you still have to try to buy them online. With that being said, even though these SKUs are selling, whether they're selling as scalpers or whether people are actually having them and playing on them, what this has caused is a shift for the developers, because now they're trying to sell their game as much as possible, but they've got all these different platforms to optimize for. And part of it is just developers having a lack of limitations. So now, I mean, we got SSDs in these consoles, NVMe SSDs. They're fast. Even if you got the PS5, which has like the fastest NVMe SSD, I'm so terrible with this. Even if you have the PS5 that has the fastest NVMe SSD, and it has this awesome throughput, it's incredibly fast, and all of that. You got the, you know, Series X and Series S, like literally right under that. Like it's barely even night and day when it comes to load times. Like the PS5 might get like 3, 4, 5 seconds, unless it's an exclusive. But the same thing goes for Xbox. But you got all that. You got the NVMe SSDs. You got this more modern GPU, RAM architecture, more modern computer stuff. Developers don't really have much limitation besides how good they want their game to look. And even then, that's mostly only in a resolution standpoint. Let's be real. That's only really in a resolution standpoint. Because unless you're like me, and don't get me wrong, I watch Digital Foundry and stuff, but I watch Digital Foundry to see kind of how the underdogs do. I don't watch it to really see how the more powerful stuff does. Now it intrigues me when the more powerful stuff does bad, but I'm a lot more intrigued when I see the stuff that's weaker or less powerful, even like the past generation systems that's being optimized for. I watch that and I'm a lot more intrigued by that, because it just goes to show there's no more limitation for these developers. At this point, if developers had as much time as they need to optimize, if they, you know, weren't under publisher scrutiny or anything like that to get games out or to even rush them out, it doesn't matter what you put your game on. It's going to look good. Where this puts the Series S in a bad spot is that because they're still developing for that Xbox One VCR, because they're still developing for that original PS4, and then that PS4 Pro, and then that Xbox One X, and then that Xbox Series S, and then that Xbox Series X, and then that PS5, and then that PC landscape, it's a lot. It's too much. And you want to know what the Xbox Series S is? It's the middle child. It is the middle child system. It gets treated like the middle child. Because what I think it is, because developers are having to develop for so many SKUs, they're worried about that baseline first. So if they can get on that Xbox One VCR and that PS4 base model, then they go up from there. PlayStation, I think when it comes to optimization, they're still kind of like the lead platform. Even though the Xbox Series S or like One X is the more powerful, I think the PlayStation is still the lead platform. So if it runs good on the PlayStation, they're going to do all their porting from there. When it comes to third party, when it comes to first party, when it comes to Microsoft, as long as they're still making games for that Xbox One, which I don't think will be for that long. The way they're setting it up, you know, is for cloud. That's a whole nother video. But as long as they have development for that baseline Xbox One, the Xbox Series S is still that middle child because they can't focus on it. They can't. They say that they are thinking in the mindset of us making a Series X version, and then the Series S version is like the downgraded Series X version. Which honestly, in my mind, is not bad because that goes to show actually how powerful the system is. If they decide that, hey, we can just downgrade a Series X version. But what it takes away from the Series S is that extra optimization that it could use to really be the Series S version. With third-party devs, because they're trying to get their game out as much as anywhere as they can, there's no time to specifically worry about the Series S. Their real deal thing is like, okay, we got the Series X version. All right, boom, cut down this setting, cut down this setting, cut down this setting, bada bing, bada boom. Okay, that's our Series S version. And while they still have all of these different platforms to develop for, what are they to do? If they don't have the time to polish up that version, the Series S is going to get treated like the middle child. And it's not to say that games are ugly on the Series S. And it's not to say that games don't run well on the Series S. It's just to say that I feel like the Xbox Series S is in a bad spot because it can't really be treated like the platform it is. And that's not a bad thing, but it's not fair to the system and it's not fair to the owners of the system. And I'm not, you know, I'm going to say I'm not really defending the Series S. I'm just speaking it how I feel it is. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I know for a fact it's the middle child system. With that being said, this is Sora Life Story heading out with another video. Hope y'all guys enjoy it. Do what you got to do. Enjoy your life. God bless. Y'all have a good one. Peace.